made up of numbers and variables. All right, so your numbers, obviously we all know what a number is. Your variable is going to be a letter that just represents a number. Okay, and so we'll be able to use the substitution property to do that. So if A equals B, okay, A may be replaced by B. Okay, so if we know A is equal to B, we can replace that in our expression, equation, anything where it's equivalent. Okay, we will be able to substitute the variables with their given values. That's if you have something that says A is equal to 3, A is equal to 17, A is equal to 1/4, -3. Okay, you can substitute that. Each time that you substitute, it's a good practice to put that in parentheses, just so you can remember what you substituted with, and it'll keep it separate. Okay, and then last of these little notes, you want to follow your order of operations. Order of operations. Okay, and we know that the order of operations is P, N, E, M, PEMDAS, that stands for parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. All right, that's just a little note part, and then we'll get into the actual solving today. Any questions so far? All right, anybody need more time writing this down? Got it? So let's move on to the examples. All right, so we're going to evaluate each expression using the variable. Okay, and so just like we talked about A equaling A or A equaling a number, it gives us what these variables are equal to, with A being equal to 2, B being equal to 4, okay, and then C being equal to 7. Okay, and so anytime we see that, we can just replace that into our expression. One thing that you want to notice is this is an expression because it doesn't have an equal sign, right? If you have an equal sign, that turns into an equation. Okay, so this is where that's different. All right, so anytime that we're going to replace one of these variables with a value, we want to put it in parentheses. That was one of the things we wrote up there. Okay, so for number 1, we need A. Well, we know A is equal to 2. Okay, A is equal to 2. All right, no, B is equal to 4. And that is being squared. Okay, B is equal to 4, and that's being squared. And then we're going to plus C, which is 7. So plus 7. All right. Now, following our order of operations, the first thing that we need to do is we need to do our exponent. Okay, so this 4 is being squared. Okay, on your calculators, you have the square button, or you can do this little rooftop above the division symbol. Okay, and that'll get you an exponent, and that works for any exponent, whether it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, on up. Okay, so that's a button that you want to be familiar with on your calculator. All right, so when you do this and you're taking this exponent, you're going to do open parentheses 4, close parentheses 2, and that's important that your number is inside those parentheses, because if you get a negative number and you don't put it in the parentheses, it's going to give you the wrong answer. Okay, so you always want to make sure that when you're squaring, you want that number to be inside the parentheses. Okay, so here we've got 4 squared. We know squared is just a number times itself, so 4 times 4, which gives us somebody. 4 times 4, you can just type that in the calculator. 4 squared is what? 16. Okay, so we've got 16 and then plus 7. Okay, next order of operations is our multiplication. Okay, these two parentheses here, since they're side by side, okay, that tells us that we need to multiply. So you got 2 times 16, which is 32. Okay, and then we'll have 32 plus 7. Okay, 32 plus 7 gives me what? 39. Okay, so that's what our final answer is going to be. 39. 39. All right, any questions about what we did there? Or any step along the way? All right, let's look at number 2 then. Okay, so we've got a number that's already here, and that doesn't really affect anything. It's just going to drop down. Okay, so we're just going to bring that 3 down. Okay, and in place of x, we know x is equal to negative 2. So you're going to have your open parentheses, negative 2 squared. Okay, drop this minus 4. Okay, and then you've got x again. We know x is equal to negative 2. All right, so I want you to try this on the calculator because this will be a good example of what I'm talking about. All right, so on your calculator, do without the parentheses, okay, without the parentheses, do negative 2 squared. Okay, your negative is right next to the decimal button. Okay, so you're going to do negative 2 squared without the parentheses. What do you get? Somebody. You get negative 4. Okay, now retry it, but put the parentheses around the negative 2. Okay, see how that changes what you get. Okay, so when you do open parentheses, negative 2 squared, what's your new answer? Positive 4, right? So one gave you negative 4, one gave you positive 4. And the positive 4 is the correct answer because if you think about what the squared means, okay, the squared is telling you that you're taking that number of times itself. And we know a negative times a negative gives us a positive. All right, so that's why it's important to make sure you have your parentheses in there. So we know that this gave us 4, so we have 3 times 4 minus 4 times negative 2. All right, 3 times 4 gives us 12. Okay, negative 4 times negative 2 gives us positive 8, right? Negative times a negative gives us a positive. 4 times 2 is 8. And you can always just plug that in the calculator if you're not sure. Okay, I would just use your calculator at the time, right? It's there for you, for your help. Right? Then 12 plus 8 gives us 20. All right, so we got 20. All right, any questions on number 2? All right, let's look at number 3. Okay, so number 3, we've got a squared. Okay, well, a is equal to 3. Okay, so we got 3 squared. Okay, b is equal to negative 4. So we've got negative 4 in place of b. We're going to do minus b squared. Okay, so that's going to be minus negative 4 squared. All right, so our order of operations tells us that we need to do our exponents first. Okay, so that's going to be 3 squared. All right, 3 squared is 3 times 3, which gives me 9. Okay, still have 9 times a negative 4 minus, okay, negative 4 squared. So that's negative 4 times negative 4. That'll give me a positive 16. All right, somebody, whoever said that did negative 4 times 2. Okay, that's negative 4 times negative 4. All right, and essentially here you can just drop your parentheses, right? Or you can distribute, okay? So I'm not worried about these parentheses anymore. This is just telling us minus 16, okay? You can leave that there if you wanted to. It's not going to change anything. Just makes it look a little cleaner, right? 9 times negative 4 gives us negative 36 minus 16. Okay, and this is an important thing for you to learn on your calculator here. Right, because you've got a negative and minus. And those two things on the calculator and in math world are two different things. Okay, so on your calculator, you need the 36 to be negative. Okay, that's your button next to the decimal. You're going to do negative 36, and then you're going to have minus 16. Okay, and minus 16 is not a negative 16, that's minus 16. Okay, so when you do negative 36 minus 16, what do you get? Negative 52, so negative 52. All right, we're gonna do number 4 here, and then I'll let y'all go ahead and have some time to do 5 and 6 on your own, okay, before we move on to that back side. All right, so A is equal to 4, so we have 4 squared, okay, just plugging that in for A. Okay, times B, which is -7, all right, minus B squared is, so you're gonna have -7 squared. All right, order of operations is our exponents. Okay, 4 times 4 is 16. Still gonna have 16 minus 16 times -7. Okay, minus, and then you have -7 squared. That's -7 times -7, which is gonna be a positive 49. Okay, so that's gonna be 49. Okay, no other operations here, so you're gonna take that off, and you just got minus 49 left. Okay, and the reason I'm saying you can take that off, all right, look, if you have this negative out in front like this, or this minus sign out in front like this, there's this, and I can put it in a different color, there's this understood 1 here, okay? If you have a number like that outside in front of a parentheses that's telling you to distribute, okay, which is meaning multiply to the inside, okay, and that turns into -1 times 49, which is the same thing as -49. So this is the same thing as -49, okay? And so that's why I'm leaving that as minus 49. That's minus 49, okay? All right, somebody do 16 times -7 for me. What do you get? Negative what? 112, we're sure? Yep, good. -112. Okay, and then you got -112 minus 49. Okay, so -112 minus 49 gives us what? -112 minus 49. -161. All right, so there's 4 good problems to start off. You've got 5 and 6 at the bottom of your page, okay? Go ahead and work those on your own. I'm gonna walk around, check your work, make sure that you got that going on the right way, all right?